Hi class, good morning. So today's discussion is all about manuscript writing. For the first part of this video, I will be presenting to you the outline of manuscript writing. Okay, for the second part of this video, I will be showing you a sample of the manuscript so that you will have an idea on how to craft it. So let's proceed.
So many of you has been asking me how to write a manuscript. So for today's discussion, I will be presenting to you parts of the manuscript and some tips in doing your manuscript. So in doing your manuscript, usually we do have 5 parts, which includes the introduction, the review of related literature, methodology, results and discussion, summary, conclusion, and recommendation. There is some 2 parts after the summary, conclusion, and recommendation, which includes the literature cited and your appendices. I will discuss it later. So for the first part is the introduction. For the introduction, we also have 4 parts of it. This is the common one. We have the nature and importance of the study. The nature and importance of the study, this is how you will discuss why the issues arises, why you need to study that particular topic. And for the statement of the problem is your research questions, what should be your possible research questions. And your research questions also relate to your research objective of the study. I will give a sample to you later on how to have the objective of the study. Your objective of your study, it should relate with your questionnaire. So if you have a questionnaire, you can follow that or you can trace your objective based on the questionnaire you have crafted. And significance of the study. The significance of the study is very easy because you are just going to identify who will be the future benefactors of your study. For example, the local government unit, they can use this one as a basis for their implementation. For students, they can use this one as a future benefactor of your study. And also, the school administrator and future researcher, you can input that in your introduction. For here, some of the research also put the test of hypothesis. They include the null hypothesis and then the alternative hypothesis. So this is the part of the introduction. You will have to include the nature and importance of the study, and the nature and importance of the study, the introduction, you can select that in the you can find a literature in the Google Scholar. Next part is the methodology, I mean the review of related literature or review of literature. The topic 1 and topic 2 and topic 3 corresponds to your research objectives. So for example, your research objectives have 4 or the 4 is already inferential, you can go directly to topic 1. So topic 1 usually is more about demographic characteristics, which includes the gender of the respondents, the age of the respondents, and you need to find why is it important as a variable in explaining your topic or your um, explaining your research topic. For topic 2, usually will be based on the topic of your will be based on the topic of your research, and topic 3 will also be based on your questionnaire. So um, the review of related literature is connected to your objectives, and your objective is connected um, to your questionnaire. And your questionnaire should be supported with your review of literature. Your review of literature, the variables measured in your questionnaire should be reflected here in the review of literature, and it should be reflected by topic or by objectives. For the okay, For the theoretical framework, this corresponds to the theory behind your study. You can have a literature, you can adapt a literature here and study about the theory behind that particular topic. And conceptual framework, here you can use the IPO, the input process output. I will show you my manuscript later. And then we have here the methodology. What are you going to write in your methodology? For the methodology, it comprises with the local of the study, the research design, the sampling procedure, the data collection, and data analysis. For the local of the study, you can input here you can put a map where will your study be conducted, and you explain why it is important to conduct the study in that particular area. For example, if the local of your study is here in Hunanangan and your topic is all about rice production, you can put the map here of the Hinunangan and then explain that you put a literature and explain that Hinunangan is the best study to conduct the study of rice production because Hinunangan is considered as the top producing uh, rice production. So you put um, some elevation, or you can look in the internet what is it all about Hinunangan its and its reason why it is best to study rice production here. For the research design, when you are using the survey questionnaire, you may use only the descriptive research design. So you are describing your respondents using the tool, which is the questionnaire. For the sampling procedures, there are a lot of sampling procedure, but the most common one is the random sampling. This is the problem when we say random sampling because other students or other researcher, when they just take respondents without any pattern, they are calling it random sample. But no, that is wrong. When we do sampling procedure or random sampling, we need a sampling frame where we can get the samples. You are giving everyone a chance to be selected as a random sample. So if you are taking a respondent out just for your convenience because you know that person is a farmer and then you took a survey or you are taking a data from him or her without a sampling frame, so that is not a random sample. That is a convenience sampling, which means you are only interviewing or answering or you let a farmer or respondent answer because they are near or he or she near to you. We call that one as convenience sampling. Convenience sampling is non-probabilistic, which means you cannot infer. You just need to describe it. Based on your study, as I have seen in the presentation of your problem, you cannot do the random sample. So if you mentioned there in your methodology that you're going to do random sample, that's wrong. What you're doing is just convenience sampling. Now, there is a better way when you do non-probabilistic. You can use the um, you can use the purposive sampling. When we say purposive sampling, you will create a criteria so that that particular respondent will be part of your research. For example, if you're if you're doing purposive sampling and then you are going to input some criteria that a farmer should have been farming for 5 years and should be registered or in an association or they should be part of the large scale farming or the small scale farming, it's up to you. So that is purposive sampling. You are setting a criteria. That is more good compared to convenience sampling. Because when you do convenience sampling, you are just asking a person near to you without any criteria of doing it. So that is sampling procedure. For sampling procedure, again, we have the probabilistic and non-probabilistic. For the data collection should be categorized into two. We have the primary and secondary data. When we say primary data, those are data collected by the researcher themselves. So it could be in form of questionnaire or interview or one-on-one data collection. And the secondary data are those data that you collected, but you are not the first one who collected it. What are the example of secondary data? Those data that are available in the agricultural department, the list of the farmers, those are secondary data. You are not the one who collected, but it was the LG who collected it. So in data collection, you also mention that you're going to ask permission from the school that you're going to conduct a study, who are the signatories of that permission. And then you're going to inform the farmers that you are not going to present the result individually, but an aggregate responses, which means their name will be hidden and only the overall result of the study will be presented in your manuscript. So that is data collection. In data collection, you also mention what is the time frame. So if you collect the data within February and March 2024, you mentioned that one. And you mentioned also some scope here that those collected on January is not included in the study. So that is data collection. And in data collection, you also mentioned the parts of the instrument. The instrument here refers to your questionnaire. So if your questionnaire has three parts, you mentioned that the first part is a demographic characteristic, which measure the gender. Okay, for the data analysis, this is corresponds to your objectives. So I will have another video for the data analysis. Depends upon your data, the type of your data, the level of measurements, and your objectives. Your data analysis will depend on it. Next is we have the results and discussion. So results and discussion will be based on your objectives. You will have the topic one. You will put the objective number one as the heading, and topic number two, the um, your objective number two, and then topic number three will be your objective number three. So in results and discussion, with the use of your data analysis, you will be able to answer your objective or your statement of the problem in the results and discussion. So this is where the statistician will take place. We will discuss how the results of your study, but the discussion for the implication based on the theory behind the results, you need to do it. So that is for the results and discussion. For the summary, conclusion, and recommendation or implication, you will have to do the summary. Summary will be uh, in the summary, you will just need to say again, but not in a a numbering. You need to mention again the primary or the general objectives as well as the specific objectives of your study, and then mention how it was collected and what after mentioning the objectives, you will mention a summary of your methodology. So that's how summary will be will be made. So again, you mention the objectives, and then the after mentioning the objectives, you need to do the methodology, but in summary. For the conclusion and implication, you just need to look at the results and discussion and what is the conclusion there or the implication resulted in there. You can just copy paste and put here in the conclusion and implication, and then paraphrase it. Then you will have a conclusion. Then you will have ad lib to as to where do you want to use that in the future, and what could be the possible implication as a researcher or as a future user of your study. And then recommendation, since you have crafted a good output, where do you want to recommend your study? Do you want to recommend this one in the LGU? The recommendation will correspond to your significance of the study, if you remember in the introduction part. So you also mention here in the recommendation. So that's all. Then after doing the summary, conclusion, and implication and recommendation, you will have the literature cited. Literature cited is very easy because it is the bibliography, or which is in IPA format. Then you copy and pasted that in Google Scholar. And then the appendices, this is where you put the questionnaire, the raw data, the list of the sample, the letter you have used in crafting your for data collection. You will put that in appendices. So I guess that's all. So this is an example of my manuscript. This is my master manuscript. I'm sharing it to you. We have the title, the table of contents,
and then the list of table, list of figures, list of appendices, and then the abstract. Afterwards, you would do the introduction. As you can see here, we have the nature and importance of the study with a corresponding literature. We can see here a literature cited by after the nature and importance, we have the objectives. So the objectives of the study will look like this. You have the general objectives and you have the specific objectives. So the specific objective, usually characteristics or demographic characteristics, it will involve in describing your respondent. And then the second, the third, and fourth could be based on your questionnaire. And then after your questionnaire or your instrument use, you will have to provide inputs and recommendations. So this is the objectives. We also have the scope and limitation of the study where you will state only the time collected and who are the respondent of the study and who are excluded of the study. So you need to put that in the scope and limitation. Um, for the significance of the study, since our manuscript did not involve a significance of the study, so we go directly to the review of literature. My RL is all about the use of propensity score matching. So that's why it looks like this. And then the reliability of propensity score matching. And then for the theoretical framework, I use this one. The theory behind my study is that if there is a training, there would be an increase of those who adopted the training, and those who did not or non a farming field school, they are not beneficiaries, so they are expected to have a stagnant increase. But those who are part of the farming field school, we can see here that there is a significant increase. So the difference between the farming field school and a non-farming field school is what we call as estimated impact. So that is the theoretical framework. When we say conceptual framework, we are trying to see the overall structure of the framework of your study. So we have, in my study, I use the input process output. So you can also use this one. You have the independent variables. And then these independent variables is based um, on your questionnaire. Your questionnaire could be divided into the basic information, the form strategy, and the gender rule. So this is based on my questionnaire, and there is an intervention which is the farming field school, and then the dependent variables is the income of small scale farmers. So this is the dependent variable because it calls dependent variable because it is uh, it depends on the information of the farmer, the farm information, the farming strategies, and the gender rule. Then for the process, I conducted a survey, data analysis, interview, and then the output is your objective. So you can use this one as your conceptual framework in your study. Then for the methodology, this is what I have told you. You can gather the local of the study is you can get a map from the you can get a map from the Google Map, and then you legend it and you put the source, of course, just to credit the Google Map. And then you need to mention why is it important to study in that specific location. Then you have the participants who are the participants of your study, and then we also have here the research design. So I use the quasi-experimental design here because I am just experimenting with the use of beneficiary and non-beneficiary respondent. For the sampling procedure, I adopted the concurrent sampling, but usually of you do not want to do this one because it's a lot. So you just want to do the non-probability sampling, which are the purposive sampling or the convenience sampling. So in my case, I use the Cochrane sampling, which corresponds to 385 respondents. I have the distribution in this one. And data collection, this is what I have told you. You need to mention the primary and secondary data. The primary data are the list of vegetable farmers. You can use that one. And primary data are the first-hand data you gathered, and then the letter of consent. Then how did you arrive with your study, the cover letter, and then informing the individual that the response will never be used individually, but only the aggregate data for further responding or further safeguarding respondent confidentiality. For the research instrument, this refers to your questionnaire. So you can put that one. Um, can include this one. It is just explaining your questionnaire in a paragraph form. This is what I've told you about data analysis. So it would be presented based on the objective of the study. So I have here descriptive statistics for my first objective. And second objective is also descriptive statistics. And for the identify, this is the third one. I use the multiple linear regression analysis. And after that, estimating the impact, I use the propensity score matching. So you need to mention it based on the objective of the study. So propensity score matching is too uh, big or too long discussion, and we have here comparing the beneficiary and non-beneficiary. These are the matching. Then we have the average treatment effect. And then I also mentioned here for the final objective, this is to provide inputs for recommendation for enhancing vegetable farming. So this one, the results and discussion is based on my objectives. So this one is based on the objectives. This first objective, and I have here the second objective, which you need to put it in a bold one here, second objectives, but you do not put second objective, just the make it the title. And here we have the third one, impact on integrated, and then we have the recommendation. So those are the recommendations. And then for the summary and conclusion and recommendation, this one you will have a overview of this chapter. So that is the first paragraph. For the summary, you mention the goal and then the specific goal here, and then the research design, the place. This part is usually just the summary of your methodology. So after measuring the goal of your study and the respondents, then you go directly the summary of your methodology. So that's how summary is being done. Then for the conclusion, you just get the important detail in every table in your results and discussion, and then you mention and conclude. And also here for recommendation, who or to whom you want to recommend your project. So here, I recommend it to the LGU, to the, I also recommend additional training, and for future researcher who wants to pursue this study and what variables should they need to focus on. I also recommend that they should have a focus group in having to improve this study. And then I also recommend that the LG of our work should provide training, equipment, and financial assistance. So that's it. And this is what I have told about literature cited. It should looks like this. And then these are the appendices. This is the questionnaire I have told you. The questionnaire should correspond to your objectives, to your results and discussion, and to your review of related literature. Here, this is my questionnaire. And then Appendix B is the statistical software output. So I put here statistical software output. What else? If you have a letter, you can put it also here because it would be useful for the future researcher. So statistical output, And we also have the statistical software codes and links for future researcher who want to use my study, and for me also. And this one is for the publishable article. So I guess that's all as a sample for your manuscript. Thank you and hope it helps in making your manuscript.